Craig.
With the 11th pick in the 2023 NHL Draft, the Arizona Coyotes are proud to select.
That's the direction it seems like it's going right now. What the heck is going on?
Ouch.
The Arizona Coyotes win their second game in a row. They're one win below a 500 record on the season, 11 games in. And if you recall, 11 games in last year, they had yet to win a game. Is this the 12th game?
This is the 12th.
12th
Okay,
game.
so this was the time last
This is
year
their first game.
that the Coyotes won their first game.
Over
Now
Seattle.
they've won
5.
5.
They have
I had
5,
to
6, and 1.
I had to hold up my hand. 5 games. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unpack this all. Thank you so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes postgame show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters, Craig Morgan, and a very depressed Shawn DePaz. Shawn, can we just see you for 1 second on camera, please? Yeah, Shawn is not doing very well, and either were his bets tonight, but
No.
that's okay, Shawn.
Buffalo
I'm
wagons have been circled.
3 straight
The
losses for the Sabres.
wagon is broken.
Seen this act before. Sorry, Shawn.
I am only sad because this is ruining the tank and my wallet. I knew this was coming for the Buffalo Sabres. We all knew it was coming.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it is what it is.
Well, the Coyotes win yet again. So what are
Okay,
our initial thoughts?
So this team now, with 11 points, a year ago at this time they had 3 points. That means this team is 8 points better than they were a year ago. If they keep up this pace, this is not what this was supposed to be about.
No.
1 point out of a playoff spot, 11 games in. American Thanksgiving is 3 weeks away, where you look at and go, okay, this is about where the playoffs are going to fall. What the hell's going on?
Yep.
And I say this a little tongue in cheek. This is one of the problems when you talk about a tank season or a rebuild, is the coaches and players don't listen to that.
Yeah.
Coaches and players are that we've said it all last season. They're there to win. Coaches are trying to win. Players are working their ass off to win. And when you do that and everything's clicking and the goaltender plays well, this is what happens. This team right now is doing a lot of things right. They're doing a lot of things right. They're forechecking extremely well. They're tough on the pucks. They're defending a little better. A little. Not a lot, a little better. And the goaltender plays great. When they do that, they have a chance to win. They just beat a very good Buffalo Sabres team in Buffalo 4-1.
Oh. Yeah, Buffalo has been held below 2 goals once this season before tonight. And it hadn't happened at home, which it's all crazy to me. And listen, I know there are people on Twitter, wherever, saying,
On Twitter.
no, this is good. This is good. I just want them to win. They've been tanking forever.
Let's prove the haters wrong. What are you going to prove?
You're not going to prove anything. This roster is not going to do anything in the playoffs. Do not fool yourself. It's not going to work. It's not sustainable. This is not even a playoff team, let alone a contender. And if you draft late, you're not going to get the type of players that get you to contender status. Sorry, that is the blunt truth. There is no other way. You need to get those players. And if you end up picking 11th, it ain't going to happen. So stop with the, hey, let's win right now. No, that's not the plan. That's not what management wants. It's not going to work.
And here's what I've said has happened over the years. When you've looked at other rebuilds and tank seasons for this franchise, this is exactly what happens. And what happens next? Taylor Hall and Phil Kessel happen next.
Oh,
And then what happens? You get to the playoffs and get your ass kicked by the Colorado Avalanche, 7-2, 7-2, and then you're sitting with a 20th pick. I get it. Sports is about winning. I understand that. But you also, when you're going through this kind of pain, you want to have the end result of, hey, let's be in the playoffs every year. Let's get top draft picks 2-3 years in a row. Let's be good for a decade. Let's be a team competing for a Stanley Cup. That's what we're talking about here. And to do that right now, the plan is to get a top 3 pick. It's the plan. That's the general manager's plan, the owner's plan. That's the plan. To get a top 3 pick this year that's a franchise-moving guy that can help this team for a decade. Hey, I'm glad that's fun that they're winning. That was a fun win. Shawn was just...
Shawn's face at having to put
so
Buffalo as
unhappy.
poverty
Look at
the screen.
look at
Just
all these
So-
comments right now. It's
So I'm going
all
to spin
for
it.
Shawn.
I'm going to spin it for a minute. I'm going to spin it for a minute. I think the plan stays intact.
This seems like a new segment. Spin it for a minute.
Spin it for a minute. I actually like
Sounds like a cable TV game show.
Because I'm coming across as negative. The plan is still intact. This is 12 games in. There are 70 games to go. Plan is intact. Because this team is one game out of the playoffs does not mean I think this is a playoff team. They got to win. Good goaltending. They still got outshot ridiculously, right? So Buffalo started with 3 power plays in the first, can't score. Did they finally get the power play goal in the first? Yeah, they finally get Tage Thompson's power play in the first. So the Coyotes were in the box a lot in the first period. There were a lot of mistakes. The big thing for this is they started off on time, which they haven't done all season. They get a lucky bounce. Let's
Brutal
face
turnover
it.
on that first goal. Yeah.
Because of the hard work and the good forecheck by Maccelli and Kraus. They did their job. That's a great forecheck. They did everything right. Puck ends up in the net. Minute into the game, it's 1-0 Coyotes. This is great. We're happy they won. Yay. We were just don't forget the plan. That's all I'm saying.
I agree completely.
The comments are
I know.
unhinged.
It's all for Shawn. We should just hand it over to Shawn. You want to run the show?
Sorry, Shawn.
Just go one man.
But I will say for Shawn though, a homecoming of sorts in all of the Bally Sports shots between periods and coming out of commercials. We got to see all the landmarks, and Shawn would point them out to us and tell us all about the stories. And right now there is no snow in Buffalo. I don't know if anybody's been to Buffalo. Rarely can you say there's not snow in Buffalo. Like that's a comment reserved for very few months, Shawn. I'm sorry. Beautiful city.
You don't got to apologize to me. I don't live there anymore.
Beautiful city, but it's damn cold and there's a lot of snow.
Okay, before we get too far away from it, I do want to read Charles sent a super chat a little bit ago. Hopefully we got it saved. There it is. Super chat from Charles Whittle Pike said, "Boy howdy, it's wagon season in the desert."
Boy, look at that. Boy howdy.
Still
wagon season in the desert.
T-shirt.
Buddy.
Yeah,
boy howdy.
I went from the Sabres being a wagon.
Could literally be Petey in the back of a wagon screaming that.
I love it.
It's perfect.
Boy howdy, it's a wagon. I like it.
Yeah.
Wagon in the desert. Love it. I
Make the shirt.
CWP, nice job.
Oh my goodness. Unreal.
Oy.
We're still processing. I feel like I was saying that a lot last game. We're still processing. We are. A lot of people in this office put money on the Buffalo Sabres to win tonight, and it didn't quite work out. So we've talked a lot of big picture. We're going to talk more big picture, but let's kind of get into the nitty gritty of the game itself. And we'll start with
what a game it was.
The numbers, because these are fascinating. 4-1 final, obviously. Shots on goal. Coyotes classic 24, not that many. Buffalo 33. Veggie, I mean, most of those shots came in the first and second periods. He was kind of right on it for the Coyotes.
He had a good game.
He had a really good game. Coyotes power play stays hot, 1 for 3. Once again, Coyotes taking a ton of penalties. Buffalo did capitalize on that 1 for 4, that their lone goal of the game. And then shot attempts is another one we've been looking at quite a bit here. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can see that massive number, 60 shot attempts for the Buffalo Sabres, 34 for the Coyotes. And I feel like this has just been happening again and again this season, where if you put your hand over the final score and look at all the stats below and you say, okay, who won this game?
Right.
It would never be the Coyotes.
We talked about this. They came into tonight with the 3rd highest shooting percentage in the NHL, and it went up tonight. They shot 16.7% tonight.
That's unheard
which is league average is generally around 10%. The Coyotes are 3rd in the league. Buffalo was number 1, by the way, Shawn, but
Dallas number 2, right?
That didn't go so well.
And I don't know if you dug deep into the numbers, but let's talk about the Coyote who had the most shot attempts tonight. Minnesotan Nick Bukestad.
Oh,
5 attempts plus 1.
I should have known it was coming here.
And he got to the net hard today. I thought he was good in the blue paint. I thought he had a really good game tonight.
Okay.
I put my vote in for king of the game again, and unfortunately,
yeah, you
Nick
just blindly put your vote in for him for every game. By the way, this comment's amazing from Ed. The Coyotes are contending for my heart. I love that. I love that.
But
sentiment.
I tell you what, and this is what we talk about with what Coach Andre Tourigny does. He's put this group is playing together and they're playing hard. And I think what Bill said, we talked to Bill at the arena the other day. All I can ask for is this team to play hard and try to do the right things. And I think that's what they've done over the last 2 games. And honestly, there's puck luck there. Who are we kidding? Like two goals off of Buffalo Sabres' feet and sticks, and Maccelli's is shooting east to west, and the puck goes in the net. So I one note I would like to pass along to the Coyotes is I think they do need to shoot more. And you look at 34 shot attempts, it's not enough. You talk about shots on goal. Yes, shots can get blocked and you can miss shots, but you got to attempt more shots. I think this team has to stop looking for the extra play. I think there's too many guys trying to be too skilled and trying to look for that perfect play through the seam or down low to the back door. They need to get more pucks on net. And they're going into some tough, hostile atmospheres over the next 3 games. And if they don't shoot the puck more, they are not going to beat the New Jersey Devils in New Jersey with 34 shot attempts. They need to pick that up. So that's one of the things they're going to have to improve. Although they did get a goal on the power play. Again. And if you read Craig's article on the power play.
Oh, it wasn't just mine. That was a dual byline, Petey.
I contributed.
Yeah, you were there for the interviews.
Dual
you made all the
byline,
graphics.
I get a byline.
Dual byline, buddy.
Cool.
Dual
I don't know
byline.
what that means, but cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, the Coyotes, Petey, we got the keys out seconds before the game. Seconds before puck drop, and somehow they must have, someone must have had their iPad on the bench because they followed
Right away.
them right away. A couple of them, not all of them. But what were your keys to tonight's game?
Power up. The power play went scoreless in the last 2, and we talked about what a wagon the power play's been. Top 5 in the league so far, but shutout in their last 2. They needed to get that back on track, and they did. Granted, it was off a skate on an east to west pass, but it still counts as a power play goal. So that held true. Hold the fort. Buffalo is the highest scoring team in the league. Goals per game, Buffalo was number 1 coming into tonight, and I would say that Veggie and the Arizona Coyotes held the fort. Tage, he got 1.
Yeah, he had some other chances too, yeah.
They held him to 1. He did have some chances. He was around the net. Gosh, did he seem like he was around it all night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That kid is fun to watch.
I felt like he was always on the ice, too.
He's a fun player to watch.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he's got a bright future in this league. And I think this is what we talk about when we want to see things for the Arizona Coyotes down the future. This is one of the models to look for. We talk about Ottawa, and I know they're on a little bit of a slide now, and Buffalo are 2 teams that are full of young talent, that they drafted homegrown talent, that are now starting to get a few more years of experience. And I say between those 2 teams, this is what Coyotes fans have to hope for in the next couple of years, to be Buffalo, to be Ottawa, to have that higher skill team that can really put up numbers.
Yeah, something that wasn't a key tonight, but normally has to do with the starts, because the Coyotes, when they allow a goal in the first 1 to 5 minutes, it never goes well for them. And tonight, the Coyotes were that team that was scoring right off the hop. Lawson Krause scored 22 seconds in off of a Buffalo turnover, and that kind of just set the tone, I felt like, for the rest of the game going forward. That it gave them confidence. And we've talked a lot, too, about different buildings that the Coyotes have success in, and KeyBank Center is another one that they tend to have success
pretty
in.
well, yeah.
Yeah, they play pretty well. Last season, it was a shootout loss, so they, second game of the season, coming off that huge loss in the first game, having just a 2-1 loss was better. So again, they were great, and it all started with that Lawson Krause goal, who now tied Nick Ritchie.
And that started
the team in goals.
And it's interesting about Krause too is that, like, I've heard some snickers around the league for the contract that they gave Lawson Krause after a season. Though, like, is that a one-time thing? Is Lawson Krause really going to do that again? Well, you know what? He's doing it again. In fact, he's on a better scoring pace this season than he was last season. I don't know. Like, sometimes it bugs me when I see that analysis. Like, when you just look, I guess, at his underlying numbers and you're not watching the player. Again, it's that balance. He got more opportunity last season, and that's what led to him getting 20 goals last season. He's on track to do it again. He's going to have another season like that, and there's a lot of parts of Lawson Krause's game to like. He's a good two-way player. He gives you size. He goes to the net. He's terrific in the leadership department as well. There's a lot of good things. I have no idea why anyone around the league would snicker at that contract. He's a guy that I want around this team.
And not only is the guy that you want around the team, he's a guy that wants to be with this team. And when we had him on the show before the season started, he's a guy that's all in when it comes to Arizona hockey. And again, it goes back to the team that Bill assembled is a bunch of guys that work hard. I mean, there's a hard-working group in here. Nick Ritchie's a hard-working guy, and you could see that on the score sheet. Krause, a hard-working guy, and he's showing up on the score sheet.
There was a comment, too, about, like, you can tell that Coach Tournier has this team working really hard. And that's relevant on that. That's prevalent on the ice. That is, whether even maybe not those, like, 7-2 games, but in these last group of games, it's really prevalent.
Even the home games where they weren't winning,
The home games, yeah.
They were still
except for
working
maybe
hard.
Dallas.
Well, the Dallas was a little, but you talk about the team that's staying close in games and skating with teams because they're working hard. We said this all season long. This is the team we want to see. Just work hard. This team, we started a little bit in jest. This team is going to lose hockey games. To Craig's point, they're not going to sustain this for 82 games. I don't know if they've got the talent. They're going to have some injuries. They're not deep enough. There are teams with better talent and more scoring. This is all going to even out because it just does. But we want to see a team that's going to get on the ice and work hard, and you can cheer for them. There's guys that you can cheer for because you know they're working their ass off, and I think that's what we're seeing tonight. Is a guy like Lawson Krause who did from the second the puck dropped, working his ass off. Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen that happen.
No, I don't think I have either.
They're
You got a
here
new-
to clean the office. The lights just
That's how
turned
late
on.
this game is.
Oh
is
man,
that-
yeah. It was delayed, but we'll get to
Oh,
why
yeah,
in,
we-
in
why
a
the
minute.
delay.
About that delay.
But we'll get to that in a minute after we.
But that's what we want this fan base. They want a team to root for because they work hard, and that's what they're doing. Again, Vejmelka doesn't play as well as he does tonight. The outcome of this game could have been different. Buffalo doesn't turn the puck over, but we talked about it last week. The Arizona Coyotes did a much better job over the last two games at managing the puck. You didn't see those blatant turnovers through the middle of the ice, 1 or 2 versus 5 or 6. So they're definitely cutting that down. And if they manage the puck better, even though he had that many saves, I thought Vejmelka, yeah, there are a handful of grade A's, but I didn't feel like there was many as we've seen in the weeks past.
I'd agree with that. Yeah. And that's what you want to do with your goalie. You want to give him clean sight lines. You want to clear traffic out in front, and yeah, you want to prevent those grade A's. And I did think they did that. Yeah, and listen, part of the fault is on Buffalo, right? We watched their power plays at times. And we're like, what are they doing? Bad shot selection. Like their shots were when Vejmelka could see the puck.
Yep.
You don't have any traffic in front. It was a combination of things tonight. I don't think Buffalo had a very good effort tonight offensively.
Do you think a team like that, and even Washington over the last 2, goes, okay, we're a pretty good team, and I know Washington's decimated with injuries, but Buffalo's been winning hockey games. Do you think they look on the schedule and go, yeah, it's the Coyotes?
I think you can have that happen, but after you've lost 2 straight games, that definitely should not be your mindset. You should be completely focused after you've lost 2 straight games. Now people are just looking at Buffalo like, oh, here we go, another hot start, and then they'll fade right out of the playoff picture. Because
Yeah,
it's what they do every season.
Well, I know that the Coyotes are heading into the Island on Thursday. I would think that the Islanders have put, hey, this team's won 2 in a row. There's no nights off here. Let's go to work. So I don't know if they're going to sneak up on the New York Islanders. That could be a little bit tougher game. It's a building that I don't know.
I mean, it's a new building,
Yeah, so
but
you
they
don't know how they're
traditionally
gonna
play
be
well
in.
on the road against the Islanders.
You don't know
Or
how
the
they're going to be
Devils.
in that building?
Yeah.
Well, you'll tell us all about that building when you get there.
I will. I'll get a tour of it. Looking forward to that.
Is it snowing there yet?
Hey.
just
No,
asking.
it's actually really nice there right now.
By the way, if you're going to the airport tomorrow, is it tomorrow you're going to the airport? And you
Pray
see
for
Craig
Craig.
getting on your flight, just
get off.
Just go home. Just get an Uber and just go home. Like, just don't bother. Like, because you're not going to get to New York.
What could go wrong on a cross-country flight with me on it?
Yeah. I can't wait for Craig Morgan's Tales. I want to say Tales of the Road, but it's not even
Tales
that.
from the air?
Yeah, Tales from the Air. It's not
My
even that because you
goodness.
don't get to leave.
Man, well, we've talked a lot about how great Karel Vejmelka was, and he was somebody that we considered for our king of the game tonight because he did have a great game. But we're gonna give it to somebody who finally got their first goal of the season tonight. Somebody who had
Points?
2 points in tonight's game, and somebody who's been impressing us so far this season. And that's somebody. And stick with us here.
Oh,
is
look at
Matias
that.
Maccelli, and what's that? If you're watching on YouTube, what is that in his hands there? What is that?
That would be the Calder trophy that is handed out to the Rookie of the Year in the NHL. And why do we bring this up? Because right now, as we speak, with some games still underway, Matias Maccelli is tied with Matty Beniers for the rookie lead in points
Lead?
in the NHL.
The lead.
The rookie lead with 9 points.
So what's the nickname, Craig, you gave him earlier? I don't want to take credit for that. That was all you.
Craig literally doesn't know what you're talking
I
about.
have no idea what you're talking
No.
about.
Matthias McCalder?
Oh, I don't remember saying that. Peter.
Maybe
I think-
you.
I think you had that conversation with yourself.
Maybe I had it with myself.
So-
I know there's 2 people
The
talking.
voice-
It could have
With
been
your
me and
other
myself.
personality.
voices in your
Matthias
head.
McCalder too early?
That could
Too
work.
soon?
Too soon?
It's better than, I mean, Chelly works. It's a pretty good nickname for, but I feel like it's been used before. That's what they call him, of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
Because that's an NHL nickname. But there's a more famous Chelly anyway with Chris
Yeah, so you
Chelios.
can't do that.
So you should, I like
Matias
yours.
McCall.
And I
I like
gotta
it.
say, we've been saving comments all along. This one's from Christian earlier. Honestly, though, Maccelli can make a run for the Calder Trophy. This was in the first 5 minutes of the show, by the way.
And that's true.
And then Elliot said, "Give me Maccelli for Calder discourse all day, every day." I have a bone to pick with the DraftKings Sportsbook app because
Yeah.
A number
Craig
one-
brings up this stat
Yep.
about that he's tied in the rookie lead for points. And I said, well, let's see what his odds are to win the Calder on DraftKings. So I opened the DraftKings Sportsbook app, scroll up, scroll down. There are no odds for Matias Maccelli to win the Calder on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So DraftKings, I'm talking to you. Get us odds. Matias Maccelli, Calder, Dylan Gunther was on there.
Yeah, Dylan
plus
Gunther's there.
5,000. A lot of interesting names on there, but he was not on there for Calder. So, I mean, obviously some of this is in jest. It's the 12th game of the season,
12th
but,
game, but still-
put some respect on Matias
And
Maccelli's
listen, he's got to
name.
score some goals, right? He's not going
Yeah.
to win it with
No,
a really
with a
low goal
goal
total.
and 8 points.
But points per game, number one right now. Number one.
On the
among
Coyotes
rookies.
or among rookies?
Among rookies. He's
Among
number one in
rookies.
points per
Wow.
game. So, I mean, if he starts scoring a little bit, yeah, let's have a little fun with that talk.
Sure, why not? I'm here for it. DraftKings, get it on there because maybe I'll put a weenie bet on it. $3, something like that. If you want to win some money on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, hopefully you did not take the Buffalo Sabres tonight. And I am looking directly at Shawn, who is shaking his head. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 if your team wins. You can also boost your winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. And it's simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code PHNX. That's code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And I think when Shawn gets home tonight, he's going to take some OGs to come down from this one.
Emphasis on the sum.
Buddy, what time you want me to call you, make sure. Should we have someone check up on you?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
If OGs, we're really excited for them to partner with us on the Coyote Show. We've been asking for that for a long time because we love OGs here on this show, and OGs has agreed to a new deal with PHNX. And the terms of this contract weren't released at the time of the agreement, but we're both immensely excited. Looking forward to creating more great content between the brands. We have a lot of exciting stuff planned,
Yes.
specifically with Petey. If you know Petey and his size, just
Little
know
anxiety.
that the OGs are going to come in handy for us here. So, as always, you can find them at your local dispensary. You must be 21 and older to enjoy OGs.
Before we move on from Maccelli, I do want to say this, something I said earlier about the shot attempts and only having 34 shot attempts. I think Maccelli is probably the one, probably more guilty than anyone on the team right now of not being selfish enough. I think that can be a problem with younger players that feel they have to give the puck up to a more veteran player. They need to make the pass. I got to get the puck on that guy's stick because he's a veteran player. Maccelli had opportunities to shoot the puck tonight. He had opportunities on the power play, and he had opportunities off the rush where he could have taken the puck to the net and shot a puck on goal. And he deferred to try to make that extra pass or pass through the middle of the ice. I think one of the things he's going to have to do is have some confidence that, okay, I'm here. I belong here. I'm an NHL player. I can put the puck on net. And I think Christian Fischer talked about this when we had him on at the start of the season, was the trend for young players to do just that. It's hard for young players to take the puck away from a veteran guy. Give it to him. So I think Maccelli, more so than anybody else on the team, he's going to have to start to shoot the puck and have some confidence in his skill, deliver the puck to the net. Cross is still going to get the goals because he'll drive the net and he'll get the rebounds if there are rebounds to pick up. But I think Maccelli, you talk about him getting goals, he's going to need to deliver the puck to the net a little bit more. And he's got the skill level to do it. He just needs to do it more. There.
All right. Well, that's Matias Maccelli. Someone else we could have considered for DraftKings King of the Game was Dylan Cousins of the Buffalo Sabres,
ouch.
who had a couple goals actually go off of him. It seemed like at least the first one we knew for sure. That was a bummer. But I'm kidding aside. Liam O'Brien actually had a pretty good game tonight. He scored that goal, obviously, in the third period, and then he assisted on Keller's empty net goal. And there was a lot of quiet things happening tonight. We can talk about whichever you want to first, but Keller's empty net goal, his 100th of his career. Maybe not the sexiest 100th NHL goal ever. But
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit about this. Clayton Keller is putting up the points, but it doesn't feel like he's had that dynamic element to his game yet this season. I haven't seen it as much as I did last season. Maybe that's coming off the injury. He's still getting his confidence back in it. I don't know. And again, he's still producing points, but I don't feel like we're seeing quite the level of Clayton Keller that we saw last season.
Yeah, last year I think when he was at his best with Boyd and Schmaltz, they looked like they were a threat to score every time they came over the boards. I don't get that sense with Clayton Keller right now. I don't feel like he's a scoring threat. I don't think he's a guy that when he usually rounds that right circle, you go, oh, here comes a big shot, and you got a chance to score from that. We're not seeing that from him. But quietly at the end of the night, he is always on the score. He's averaging a point a game right now, or just under a point a game. Yeah. And he's quietly still adding to his point total. I think the best of Clayton Keller is yet to come. I do still think there are some lingering effects, maybe not the injury, like he's still in pain or hurting, but being off the ice for that long, having that difficult of an injury where you do have some tentative play in your game. I still think the best of Clayton Keller is to come. The other thing with Clayton that I don't think we saw, he was best when Boyd and Schmaltz played together for an extended stretch. And you go, this line got hot. With playing 7 and 11, 7D11 forwards, you don't get that rhythm. He's getting more ice time because he's getting to slot in with that fourth line group. So he's getting the ice time. I just think he needs to still find that chemistry with somebody, and he just hasn't found it yet. So I think the best of Keller and his scoring and the goals, I think those are still to come this season.
Just to answer Fernando's question, yes, I will be at MSG on Sunday covering that game. I'll be in New York. Hopefully I will make it to New York tomorrow.
Yeah, Craig is going on the Islanders, Devils, Rangers section of the trip.
Yep.
So,
with some fun stories played along the way.
Why didn't you want it started in Buffalo?
Yeah, Craig.
Only 38 degrees.
Okay, well, today, before the game, Craig, Petey, and I sat outside at a brewery, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, we did do that.
38 degrees in Buffalo right now.
Do you find...
That's a nice night in Buffalo.
Completely sidebar here. It's, what is it, November? It's November in Buffalo, and it's 38 degrees. We if anybody saw that on Twitter, the three of us went and had dinner outside in downtown Phoenix. Lovely, by the way.
Which I was not invited to, by the way.
I texted
you. You want to come? We just got our food.
Oh, boy.
There's more to that, but he's not.
He was voting. He was fulfilling his civic duty.
Great. So we had apple juice and cookies.
But don't you forget?
I love that.
Total sidebar. Don't you forget about winter here? Like I forget. I forget that it's November in Minnesota and Michigan.
I'm not going back to any of those climates ever. Forget about it.
It was beautiful here in Arizona today. Just sidebar.
Okay.
Didn't mean to veer off.
Nope, you're good.
Wasn't in the show notes.
No, it wasn't. We talked about Keller. I mentioned 2 at once, but what did you guys think of Liam O'Brien and his play so far this season? I feel like he's been making more of an impact.
They like him. They signed him to a contract extension. He plays hard. That's, again, getting back to that theme. He plays hard. He does a lot of things that they want. I mean, Liam O'Brien is who he is. He's a fourth line player, really. He's not going to give you a lot of scoring, but he's going to work his butt off. And also, he has the most fantastic beard in perhaps Coyotes history.
Caleb said someone from PHNX going to New York, and it isn't for Harry Styles.
Wow.
With Liam O'Brien, the energy you love, his physicality you love, the beard you love. He is a player that has to be on the edge, and that's hard because sometimes he goes over the edge, and you want him to be physical. You want him to be that disturbing factor on the ice, right? And sometimes he takes too many penalties. And luckily for this team, they've been able to kill off penalties for the most part this season. Their PK has been great. It's been top half of the league. So all of those things are great. He is just going to have to make sure, if he's going to play physical and hard, which he needs to play, that he doesn't take those hooking and slashing and stick penalties, that he's going to have to try to stay out of the box as long as he can.
Shawn just...
Oh, okay.
Shawn just ran out of the room.
I thought he quit for just a second.
Oh my God. I thought he was so insulted by this talk about Buffalo.
Our lighting
losing.
Have we had that happen during a show before?
It's, no.
I mean, I see why. I saw
When
what
the cleaning
happened.
crew came in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my goodness.
All right, let's get to the biggest news of tonight. All in caps, Leah.
Oh, is that? Oh, I wasn't ready to get there.
Oh, okay. Well, you drive the bus, so
I'll drive the bus. Really quick. we put this in the show notes too. Do we need to start talking about the Western Conference playoff picture?
Playoffs?
The Western
Kidding, but
Conference
not really.
playoff.
Yeah,
1 point out.
1 point off.
1 point out
wild
of the
card
playoff spot. 11
And this
games
whole 14-game road trip is supposed to be the same thing that happened to the New York Islanders last season, where it completely cut them off at the knees. And there were a lot of comments at the beginning of the show, like they're going to go 14-0 on this road trip. And obviously, they're not going to do that. And just because they won the first 2 games of this road trip, they could go 2-12 on this road trip for all we know.
They could.
But it is.
We did say that though, that this was going to be the turn.
It is starting to get concerning, and we did run a poll on our Twitter account today because I was curious about the pulse of everybody, how they felt. Do you feel like this is too many wins? Like, should we slow it down, or are you thinking, it's still early? And the result was 58.4% said, it's still early, and 41.6% were worried.
Okay.
So
just saying.
They're 1 point
Interesting.
away from facing the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, how do you think that would go?
They're sitting in 24th place in the NHL right now. Just saying.
Like-
There's 8 teams behind
Yeah.
them.
18's behind. So are you saying that's good?
No, I'm not saying that's good.
Like, they're not-
listen,
they're not going on a
I mean,
run,
there's a
is what
bunch of
we're
teams
trying to
within
say.
shouting distance of them. St. Louis and Columbus are a bit off the pace at this point. I can't imagine that's going to last for St. Louis, but Columbus, they're not very good. Ottawa, I've been telling you all season, they're not very good. They're overhyped, and they're 4-8. But I mean, you're like you said, Petey, they're 8 points ahead of last year's pace. They're collecting points,
Yep.
and they're playing well on the road.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah,
scary.
we saw that stat. They've got 4 wins on the road already this year in 8 games. It took them 16 games to get 4 wins on the road. 16 road games.
Last season, 32 games to score 12 power play goals. This season, 12 games to score 12 power
There's
play
so many little things like that that are going better for this team.
which is great if all those things could go better, but they still land in 32nd, 31st.
Or they just win the lottery.
That too.
Yeah, just win.
Gary,
finish.
please.
Yeah, they could just jump.
Finish in 17th and jump.
Other teams have it happen all the time where
Finish
they
in
just jump
17th
up.
Not
and
the
jump.
Coyotes.
Maybe we'll start doing that. Finish in 17th.
Well, you can't jump that high, but
Well, whatever you can jump.
yeah, sure, why not?
You know
Like,
the rules. I
just-
don't.
Sure, let them jump up 10 spots and win the lottery. That would be cool.
The other problem with this and where they are in the standings is there are some teams playing poorly, and we talked about Anaheim and where we thought St. Louis would be, or not St. Louis, Anaheim and San Jose, but the teams that we expected to be good, like the St. Louis Blues. Like, none of us expected this from the St. Louis Blues. Like, and every day I go, well, the St. Louis, they're going to come out of this. They're going to come out of this. They're going to come out of this, and here they are. Like they're in last place in the Western Conference right now. I don't know when and if they make a change there, but those are the teams you keep thinking, oh, they're going to catch the Coyotes eventually. But eventually it's 10 games in, then it's 20, then it's 30. So I don't know.
And we're getting close to that Thanksgiving
The Thanksgiving
time.
day. Yep.
Things are kind
Right?
of
The Elliott
set.
Friedman cutoff.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that it holds so true, but it does.
Yeah, it does. So I don't know. We're all getting a little, maybe not. We're not pressing the panic button yet on
No.
getting concerned, but it's the first couple wins. We're thinking, yay, woo, this is fun. It's fun to have some wins early on because let me tell you, when they're losing 11 straight games, it's not fun to watch
No.
for the fans. It's not fun to watch for us to sit here talk about. But it is creeping in our mind that it's on the horizon of things to be concerned about.
That's fair, Charles, by the way. If Ryan Reynolds buys the Senators, I'll probably be an Ottawa Senators fan. at
That's
that
true.
point.
Yeah.
I'll change
Who
my
doesn't
mind.
love
That
themselves
is
some Ryan Reynolds?
True.
Exactly.
Well, we do actually have a Petey's Puck Talk from tonight's game. And once in a while, we do this where Petey breaks down, things that happen on the ice. And if you read Craig and Petey's story, you saw his diagram. So Petey has a Petey's Puck Talk from tonight.
The level of expertise
Before
is
we go
unbelievable.
to
It's
the
unbelievable.
shot, you're right. What we try to do is we try to teach the game here, right?
Yeah.
And we usually try to pick a turning point of the game where the game pivoted and things changed, and this was the direction of the game went. So we picked a particular moment that if you watch the game on television, you notice this. You had no help but to notice this particular moment in the game where I think the Coyotes were able to slow down Buffalo's momentum and really slow the game down
Yep.
to their pace.
Yep.
This would be a much better bit on YouTube. Not so good on the audio podcast. But Shawn, if you want to hit Petey's Puck Talk. So here we see the Zamboni for the Buffalo Sabres just inside the blue line. It makes it to the front of the net where it stops. So we bring in another Zamboni. We bring in a tow rope, and we tow it off the ice. And what do we leave? A big puddle in the middle of the ice. Everything melted, and we had to sit around for the half hour. Buffalo Sabres momentum ruined. Coyotes take over, win the third period 2-0.
2,000 years later.
And that's exactly
2,000 years.
what it
Should I
felt
just keep
like.
playing?
And that's what it felt
That's
like.
what we were saying.
I have,
Petey, I gotta say, that might have been your best puck talk you've ever done.
I really feel like I learned a lot from
and
that.
I will take credit because I actually built that and I did the animation on that
Quickly,
in about
too.
5 minutes.
You threw that together fast, yeah.
That
That's
was
impressive.
that not one of the most wild things you've ever
was
seen
bizarre.
happen in an NHL game?
Yeah, you think, like...
They
there's-
had
there-
a watering they were watering the ice with not a hose, a watering can. Like, I have that for my plants on my balcony.
I had a journalism professor tell me that be very careful with the word unprecedented because almost nothing is unprecedented. I think that tonight was unprecedented.
I don't know if I've seen it here at a local mini-mite game. I've seen it. I've never seen that in the National Hockey League. And then the best part is, if you got to understand how a Zamboni works, that thing in the back, it has a scraper that scrapes the old ice off, and then it shoots hot water out the back, so it ties into the old ice, melts it really quick, and that's why it's smooth. Well, when you put the hot water part of the machine directly on the ice,
Then it just sits there.
turns out it melts. And so they ended up with a big 6-foot hole in the ice.
Ice fishing.
Oh, it was comical. And then they couldn't
Oh
get the
my
other
God.
Zamboni out to help fix it because the one Zambonis were blocking the door. So it was just a
It was a shit show.
Yeah, it was an absolute
let's be
shit show.
frank. Caleb said, Leah, if they don't water it, how will the ice grow? You're right.
Fair point.
And Roaring Fork said, that should have been a members only
that
puck
should
talk.
a
You're
members
right.
only puck talk.
Yeah.
Behind the paywall.
Next level.
My God. And just imagine if that happened at Mullet Arena. We
oh
were
my God.
tweeting about this. Could you
For real.
imagine, though?
If that happened at Mullet, that is I swear that is all over North America right now. That's the biggest news in hockey tonight.
Completely agree.
Yep.
100%. If that happened
Poverty
at Mullet,
franchise.
they got to move this team, get them out of there. They can't be 100%. If that happens at Mullet, people are freaking out tonight. Move the team. But it didn't happen. It happened in Buffalo.
Oh my God, that was just hilarious. And that's why we're sitting here a little bit later than we thought we would. But, the game went on and the Buffalo Sabres, that little rest for them wasn't enough for them to
Wasn't
get the win. And I'm so sorry, Shawn. I'm so sorry. I promise you I'll stop rubbing this in. But it's been brought to our attention in the chat a few times that the Arizona Coyotes put out a hilarious tweet tonight. And we have to acknowledge it because it's really funny. And this is the tweet. The Zamboni pulling the L. They said, "You missed this, Sabres." That was good.
Wow.
Shout out to the Arizona
wow.
Coyotes social media team for this one.
Aggressive. I like
Aggressive, but why not?
it. Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
not?
I
Have
think
some
I know
fun
who
with it.
created that, but I'll verify. That's good stuff right there.
That is
That's
good stuff.
Great stuff. Well, the Mullet does have functioning Zambonis, I promise you, and
They
phenomenal.
don't have Zambonis.
They have Olympias. I'm so sorry. They
Don't have
ice
Zambonis.
scrapers. They have
ice resurfacing
Oh,
machines.
excuse me.
Yes.
Yep. They,
Is Olympia a Canadian company or is that an American company?
I believe it's American, correct? Oh, Olympia
I
is
think
Canadian?
is Olympia Canadian or is
Zamboni is a Canadian company.
Canadian,
They do
okay.
make some in California. So we don't know
We'll
about
have to
Olympia.
get clear on that. We'll
Just
have to
saying.
get clear.
I mean,
I know they do not have Zamboni ice resurfacing machines at the Mullet. I know that for a
no,
fact.
they do not have
Zamboni.
They do not have Zamboni trademark.
it's not a good night
But
for
they
the
have-
brand.
They have-
Olympia is based in Elmira, Ontario. Not to
There
be
you go.
confused with Elmira, New York.
All right.
you go.
Okay. Well, Mullet has great
Throwing out
ice.
facts here at PHNX. That's what we do.
Great ice resurfacers. And the Coyotes will be back eventually, about a month from now, on December 9th, after they return from this huge I was going to say homestand. It's not a homestand. Road trip. That's the word. And if you want to buy tickets to that game, you can do so on Game Time. You can also buy tickets to other sporting events such as the Suns, ASU, all of that. I promise you, it's the cheapest place to find tickets. You can also buy concert and show tickets on there as well. So check it out. Let us know. We've had a lot of great feedback feedback from people using Game Time to buy tickets. We've used it ourselves. And if you want to use Game Time, the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in our description. So definitely check that out. And another way you can enjoy it yourself is to use Underdog Fantasy. Petey and I, every single night,
Yes.
we say, okay, we're going to do the fantasy draft for the early slate of games because they separate them by slates.
Yep.
And every time Petey and I forget to do the early slate. But luckily there's the late slate. There's
We always
also
can jump in on that.
Yeah, we can always jump in on that. Sometimes we miss the Coyotes, but you can do pick your favorite higher or lower stats for certain games across the league. You can also do daily fantasy, like I said, and not just for hockey, but basketball, football, all of it. Underdog Fantasy is seriously a blast. And it's, again, another app that's super easy to use. You can search in the App Store or click on the link in our show notes. Sign up with the promo code PHNX, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. We've had a lot of people in this office win a lot of money on Underdog, and you can too. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PHNX, and get in on the action today. Well, there's some news today, and I saw a comment earlier about maybe not as many injuries this year, but we've had a couple. Obviously, Nick Schmaltz and Conor Timmins is one, and transaction happened today that Conor Timmins is actually reassigned to Tucson for conditioning. So, Craig, do you have any more information on that?
No, I mean, he's been skating for a while, so I figured this was going to come at some point. He'll be back with the club after this conditioning stint, and then you just wonder about, okay, who's the odd man out? Honestly, I mean, I hate to say it at this point. I got to believe it's Dyson Mayo at this point with what's been going on with this roster. So when Conor Timmins is ready to return, I got to believe he moves into that spot. I also expect at some point, and I know they won, so maybe he won't change the lineup again. Coaches are superstitious, but they've been going with 11 forwards and 7 deep for a while.
And they did recall Laurent Dauphin.
Yeah, and he's on this trip,
tonight.
and he's just sitting there waiting to play a game. It's kind of weird at this point. I would imagine at some point on this trip, Dauphin's going to find his way into the lineup, and they're going to go with 6D like you normally do. But Conor Timmins will be back with this club. He's had a tough go of it with injuries for his career, but they really need to see what he can do with this team. He's a big right-handed defenseman. It's a valuable commodity. Just needs to play games.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I'm not sure. It's funny that Andre has continued to go with the 7-11. 7 defensemen, 11 forwards, because it is harder to manage on the bench. For the forward group, when you have 11 forwards, and Andre's shown this, is you get the ability to get a forward that is going and playing well in that particular game. You get him more ice time because there's an extra slot on that fourth line, so you can roll them twice. Krause would get double shifted. Keller could get double shifted. So I think that helps the forward group. It's hard to manage 7 defensemen. Like, it's hard to, you're doing it in pairs of groups of 2, so it's hard to make sure everybody's getting their ice time, especially when you're getting thrown in with penalties and power play units where you got to really split up and you have specialized players. So it's hard to adjust and shift around all of those guys to make sure everybody gets ice. So I would think as soon as they lose a game, I think you're right, Craig. I think it's going to be 11-7 again on the island just because they're winning. And if they lose a game, I wouldn't be surprised to see Laurent Dauphin get his first game of the year this year and go back to a full 12-6. But until they lose, who knows? Keep rolling with what you got.
Yep. So that's the news on that front, and some other news that has taken our Discord and Twitter a little bit by storm. And we're not going to spend that much time on this, but just address it briefly, I guess, just to put it out there.
I think everyone knows now, huh?
Everyone knows that the Tempe City Council has moved up, I guess, the date. So I'll actually send it over to you. I don't want to misspeak here.
Yeah, they're going to decide whether to refer this to referendum, which means that Tempe citizens would have the final say on whether the arena and entertainment district proposal goes through. That's going to happen on Thursday, naturally, because I'm going out of town. Anytime I go out of town, something happens.
They did that on purpose. I think they saw your flight. And, hey,
let's not do it on the 22nd. Let's do it on the 29th instead.
Literally.
Or on the 10th. There will still be a vote of the city council on the 29th as well. I know that's confusing to a lot of people, this procedural stuff. If you want to go on the government website and read all about it, have at it. But it is procedural. The Tempe City Council still is going to vote on the 29th, so you'll get a sense on that date of council's feelings about this proposal. I do think that council likes this proposal. I do expect that vote to pass, but now we know if this thing goes to referendum, It means a May 16th vote with Tempe citizens. And that includes ASU residents, by the way, in case you ASU folks are watching and wondering, can I vote in this? Well, yes, you can, as long as you're registered to vote here and not in another state. But it's going to be interesting to watch because you can imagine all the stuff that's going to come. We'll be out there to cover it. We'll talk about all this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to dive into it
No.
now, but of course I won't be there. So the person who always seems to cover the city council meetings, Kirsten Susel, will be out there again.
Yep, and we will talk about it alongside our post-game show on Thursday. We might even, depending on the timing, we might even be live before the game ends. So stay tuned for more on that. We'll have it all for you, of course, here on PHNX, because we cover, even when you cover the Coyotes, you also cover local politics. And that's just the reality of things for now. Hopefully,
Same as it ever was.
The light is at the end of the tunnel.
Is it?
Hopefully.
Yeah, we hope it's not a train.
Maybe. Oh, another Sabres fan in the chat. As a Sabres fan, how did Arizona win? LOL. Something Shawn has been trying
All
to...
five of them must have left the arena tonight.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out.
did I say that?
Whoa.
Wow.
That's tough.
Poverty, relocate them.
Yeah,
I heard Houston wants a team.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to say that every time.
Oh, don't they have an arena?
Yeah.
Quebec does
Quebec
too, right?
has
Does.
one just sitting
It's
up.
an NHL
They
arena,
have
it's ready.
working zambonis too. I
And
heard.
locker rooms.
That's all it takes, right?
I'm kidding. We love you,
Okay.
Buffalo.
We do.
We
love
would
you, Buffalo.
we do it in jest. We would never actually be serious about that because
Nope,
that
don't
is
want
just
don't want the Sabres going anywhere.
that was a good
Don't want
Well,
anybody
that was
going
a-
anywhere.
that
That
was
was
a
a
good-
heavy sigh.
Oh.
Coming from that side of the room, not over
There's been
here.
been a few of those tonight.
yeah.
Wow. I have to say Sean's sigh meter was higher than mine
It
today.
might have been, which is my
Decibel
Sean's
levels?
sigh meter?
Yeah.
I think it blew
Probably
up.
right.
I did. Wow.
Like I said, OGs when he
OGs.
gets home. Well, the Coyotes are still on this massive road trip right now. They're 2 games in, and let's see what the road ahead is for them on this giant road trip here. The one that I get tired looking at. Craig will be one of those lines soon.
Lots of
joining
lines.
Them. We've
yeah.
made it through Washington and Buffalo. They'll be in. At least they'll kind of stay put for a little bit in that Islanders, New Jersey, Rangers, section because they don't have to go far. They are going to return to Arizona next week before they go out on the next swing
To Vegas,
So
yeah.
it's not all on the road for a month, but still challenging to be on the road for 14 games, which is why we are not saying here that they are going to go 14-0 on this road trip. And I think we need to cool the jets a little on this winning streak, I guess.
And one of the things when you look at cities 3, 4, 5 there, the one thing unique about this part of a road trip is when you play the Island, the Rangers, and the Devils, this team has an opportunity to stay in the same hotel for several nights. So they don't have to, you don't have to pack up after the game, get on a plane, fly out,
Right.
and bus. You just go back to the same hotel. So you can act. Hockey is different than baseball. In baseball, you unpack in the city you're in for 3 or 4 days. Hockey, you never do that. You don't. You play the game, you get up and you go to the next
Probably
city.
should. Well, I thought we were going to have a series coming after they experimented with it, and
it
players
went
loved
so
it.
well, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is a good chance for them to unpack in their hotel, stay in the same bed for several nights, so it won't be as hard on them physically because they won't have to change time zones. You won't be on planes and buses. So you know what? I think that bodes well for them and their ability to play. If they feel Vejmelka's hot, his ability to play in potentially all 3 of these games.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's an interesting.
There's no back-to-backs.
Ooh.
Well, and if they keep winning, they'll.
There's no back-to-backs. They keep winning, and they showed last year they have no fear in throwing him out there for 14, 15, 16 straight. So I think what this does in this little break in this road schedule, being in the same hotel, not getting in late nights on these games, it does, if you want to throw him back out there, I think you can do that.
Yep. But it'll be challenging ahead because New Jersey is 3rd in the league right now. The Islanders are 4th. So they are facing some
And the
great
Rangers,
teams.
face it, they're a team
Yeah,
that
and
could
they're
win
the
these.
Rangers just because they're not like in those top 5 doesn't mean they're. And we saw the Rangers come in here and win. So it'll be a challenge. It'll be a challenge, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how things unfold. But you know what? Credit to the Coyotes for keeping this interesting for us. Like honestly, it's hard to get through a losing season, and I know it's a struggle for fans to stomach the tank, stomach the rebuild. But if they can put together competitive games and show those improvements like we have been seeing, they have been doing that, and then maybe just slow down a little bit on the wins. Maybe, I don't know, just slow it down a little. I'm starting to get a concern. I know people on Twitter where everyone is extremely rational, is like, just win. Let's not. But
Did Karen ask that question before I answered it? Or did she put
No,
it up there and
she
I
put
pretended
it
I
up.
didn't see it?
you
Basically
didn't
the same time.
like
Seriously?
it was the same time.
Sorry, Karen. These guys are really
and
good at reading
YouTube
that.
chat
I'm
is
not.
like, it's like a 10-second delay too. So you actually
You
anticipated.
it.
Okay. Sorry, Karen.
You guys did.
Why are
like
you
a-
apologizing?
Well, no, because I should read. Like, you
No,
guys read.
You
You
were-
answered it before she asked the question.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why she's
She's
thanking
saying
you for
thank you for
Oh, okay.
anticipating. My goodness. Well, people had asked earlier too, has a new pattern emerged on the punch card? And I believe one has kind of, it's not quite a pattern yet, but whereas before we had 2 losses win, now we have 1 loss, 2
2
wins.
wins.
So is this going to be a 1 loss, 2 win thing? Or maybe 1, 2, 2, 1.
Wow.
I'm just...
hammering.
That
the
sounds like
Islanders.
the hammer the Islanders on
I need to make
punch
my money
card
back.
voodoo.
I need to make my money back. Punch card voodoo magic.
Yeah, you're going to...
That's what I didn't realize. That's what I failed to bring into account is that the pattern resets at each line.
Yes.
That
and there's
is
a
what
new
we've
pattern.
learned from the punch card. It resets.
Jacob Chicken is week to week, by the way.
Yeah, there's been a lot of questions.
Yeah, there was
in
a
the chat.
setback with him with the wrist, and I asked Bill Armstrong right before the road
He's
trip.
not on this section of the trip either. He was. I saw him. He was at the Cardinals game on Sunday. Saw that. Yeah. So for those asking, but anyway, interesting punch card situation there. I don't know what's going on. We're still sorting through this as a group, but that's why we have this show, this chat, Pack Therapy, even though this hasn't really been Pack Therapy, but it kind of has because we've been talking through our concerns, and we have of course, our official beer of Pack Therapy, which is Four Peaks beer, which is just a great companion to watching hockey, to drinking before a hockey game, during a post-game show, and while you're watching us here on YouTube. And the World Cup is coming up, which is extremely exciting, and we are partnering with Four Peaks for watch parties. Four Peaks is going to host all the U.S. and Mexico World Cup matches, or streaming them, that is, at their 8th Street pub. Enjoy beer specials, giveaways, guest appearances, and more. Check the link in our show notes to register for free. You must be 21 or older to drink and enjoy responsibly. Try Four Peaks if you haven't already, if you're able to drink. It is amazing. And if you missed Petey and Craig's story on the power play, it continues to be extremely relevant. You saw Petey's amazing puck talk there with the Zamboni diagram. But for real, like, there's great diagrams in that story. So check that out. Become a member. There's a lot of great perks to becoming a member, and more to come on some changes soon. But it's amazing. You're going to be so excited about it. And it's November, which is crazy to think about. And holiday season is coming. Holiday season is around the corner, and if you don't know what to get your loved ones, head to the PHNX locker to give the gift of some sweet merch, your favorite PHNX shirt, hat. There's also gift cards, so you can give someone a gift card to use on the locker. All of that is available to purchase. Better yet, purchase an annual PHNX membership, and you'll receive a free PHNX t-shirt. So check the link in our description to get to the right place. You can also gift of someone a membership as well. So if there's sports fans in your life, great gift. Just saying.
I hear they're giving away dates with Anthony Totri on the PHNX locker these days.
What?
That's a thing? Oh, Lord.
Maybe select the
Totri was talking about
t-shirt.
dating everyone when he was in here earlier, so I figured I'd throw that out there.
God.
It feels like he's eligible right now. So
Those are the rails. We are off.
Yeah. The rails are here. We're here.
Yep.
Any
Sorry.
final thoughts before we head out? It's been a long one.
No, I just this was the road trip that was supposed to start the tank, and they're 2-0 on this road trip. They're playing hard. They're fun to watch. We'll see what happens in the island.
Looking forward to getting to New York, assuming I get there. Got a tour lined up of UBS Arena, which is leading into a story that people can probably guess about. I have a tour of the league office scheduled as well. I've never been to the NHL league office. I'm like, I got to go. And I asked if it was even possible. Yeah, maybe Gary will be there.
Craig has his list of suggestions for you. Gary.
But,
Realign it
it's
too.
amazing that I haven't done it. And when I asked, they're like, yeah, we love showing off the office. Come by. We'll give you a tour.
Wow.
So I'm going to do that as well. And then I'm going to have something linking the Devils and the Coyotes for that game as well. So I've got some fun stories planned for this road trip. Again, assuming I get there.
If you get there.
Yeah, please,
Yep,
everybody.
Leah and I will be here.
Pray for Craig. Pray for Craig.
We'll be right here. Are we going to be right here?
We will be right
Right
here
here.
Thursday. There's a lot we're going to talk through on Thursday. City Council, the game against the Islanders. So stay tuned for that. You'll want to follow PHNX Sports across all social platforms, as well as PHNX_Coyotes on Twitter, because we'll have plenty of coverage of Thursday night from all angles, from New York, from Tempe, from here, downtown Phoenix. So we got you covered here at PHNX. And we appreciate everybody joining us today in the chat. Please like this video if you're watching live, if you're watching after, if you're listening on audio. Either way, subscribe, like, leave us a review on podcasts. It really actually helps us a lot. Hit those stars and write a little message if you want. A lot of comments about Petey's ankles tonight, but so feel free to leave your comment.
Somebody
about
commented
that.
about your dad's shoes earlier.
No, it's
too,
because
by
of
way.
the gloves.
Gloves again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
We got to move the gloves or get rid of the gloves. I thought black ones would be good on the
Petey
set.
did his attempt at set design, and I don't know if it's paying off.
Yeah. That would fail.
But we appreciate everybody being here. And actually, tomorrow, for our first time this season, well, technically second, we're taking a trip down the I-10.
Yeah, 10.
Metaphorically.
Yeah. For a team that's playing extremely well done.
Tucson. Speaking of teams kind of going on little runs,
6-2.
Tucson's been great. So Petey and I are going to check in with them. We're going to talk to Michael Carcone and head coach Steve Poppin. So stay tuned for that tomorrow, wherever you get your podcast, and we'll also have a video version on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. So subscribe there as well. Was there something else?
No, I just wondered if Real Deal Prime is Shawn. Like a lot of Buffalo love there.
I did want to address that. It is not my burner. What's up, Real Deal
We
Prime?
thought it was Shawn's
I
burner.
appreciate you fighting the good fight. But no, that is not me.
Okay, just checking.
I feel like I need to address a few things that are in the chat. A, my name is spelled S-H-A-W-N.
Yeah, I've seen a few
There's no
spellings
U,
of
there's
Shawn.
no E-A-N. Secondly, Buffalo's a beautiful city. You could trash the teams, but I'm not going to
Not the
tolerate
city.
no Buffalo slander. Thirdly, I don't think I had anything else actually. So
Hey, Shawn, rancher blue cheese. He's nailing the size.
He is. I swear, I've never heard him sigh like this. Like, that's impressive.
So you're a blue cheese guy, right?
I'm a blue cheese guy because the city of Buffalo invented buffalo wings, and they eat them with blue cheese. So that is the right way to eat them.
Okay.
Which is kind of how
I prefer
that
ranch
works.
myself.
Yeah,
but
you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah.
just saying.
I respect that, though, because I do like blue cheese on Buffalo.
I
wings.
hate blue
do.
cheese.
And I also want to address, because Steven is joining us from Buffalo, which is pretty dope.
Thank you, Steven.
But also, he's talking about how mean Sabres fans are.
Oh.
Sabres fans can be like that. That's what we do in Buffalo. But we also will shovel your car out of your driveway in 10-foot snow. So you take the good with the
Kind
bad.
people from
Take
Buffalo.
we are called the City of Good Neighbors. That is our nickname.
There you go.
Amongst many others. Queen
Okay.
City. Maple City.
Okay, there we got
you
your
go.
Buffalo lesson from Shawn.
There you go.
Oh, man. Anyway, this was fun tonight. Thanks again for joining us. You can follow each of us on Twitter. Hopefully, you're not following along with Craig's horrible travel.
Did you see that? That is awful take.
What?
I tried to type Shawn, but my thumb went wide right.
Oh, that's cold.
Oh, we
That's
might.
just
that's
cold. All
vicious.
these years later.
I'm wiping my tears with all of the Arizona Cardinals rings, which is to say I'm wiping my tears with absolutely nothing.
Oh, wow.
my
That was
Welcome to the party.
vicious. Wide right. Wow.
Oh, I can and I will slander that weather.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
Everyone's
Okay.
team
We'll
ranch
get
in the
over it.
chat. Okay.
Okay.
We
sorry.
got to wrap this up before Shawn walks out, and then our show will not end because no one's there to
Yes.
press the button. Follow Craig, hopefully not through his travel mishaps, at Craig S. Morgan. You can follow Petey at S. Peters Hockey. You can follow Shawn for all his Buffalo takes at Shawn_DePaz. Follow me at Leah Merrill, and of course the show at PHNX_ Coyotes. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. We got an audio episode tomorrow, live again Thursday. Until then, have a great rest of your night.